Hello and welcome back to Bionicle Autopsy, the show where we cut through Bionicle piece by piece. Now before we begin this episode, if you have anything that you would like for me to cover or talk about on Bionicle Autopsy, feel free to post a comment below and we might just talk about it. Now on to this week's topic. Hero Factory. Two words that go down in infamy amongst the Bionicle community. Hero Factory is the successor to Bionicle and often regarded as the franchise that slaughtered our childhood memories. Indeed, as Bionicle was met with its untimely demise back in 2010, out popped up Hero Factory with its Rise of the Rookies line. Now, Hero Factory introduced a new style to LEGO's Construction line. Out went the overly detailed biomechanical beings and in with a new, stylized and clean-cut, Japanese mecha-inspired wave of robots. Hero Factory was created in response to Bionicle's decline from 2007 up to 2010, and it featured a simpler building style as well as a easier-to-access story that was, for all intents and purposes, very, very simple. The premise behind the show is basically a factory that built robotic heroes to save the population of Makuhiro City from villains, using a hangar-like system, which personally always seemed a lot like Zoids or Gundam, or an even closer to home reference, Iron Man. Now, upon its release, Hero Factory was panned by many fans around the world for various reasons. The biggest reason stems from the fact that Hero Factory effectively killed Bionicle and was the cause of its cancellation. This is, of course, a misconception because Hero Factory was actually planned after Bionicle's cancellation and not prior. So Bionicle was not, in fact, cancelled to put Hero Factory up on the shelves. In fact, Hero Factory was actually conceived in response to Bionicle's cancellation. Now you may be asking why this is, or what does that even mean? So I'll explain it to you. Bionicle was one of LEGO's most stable and top-selling lines ever since its foundation in 2001. It had a few dips here and there, but for the most part, it was always on the top 5 list of LEGO's highest-paying franchises. Especially in 2006, when Bionicle met its highest-grossing sales since any year prior. This can be likely attributed to the fact that LEGO was trying to expand to a new market using the rock band All-American Rejects and their viral campaign Free the Band, in which the Paraka had kidnapped the All-American Rejects and had them hidden on Voyanui. In fact, the rock music in general kind of inspired a new darker theme within Bionicle, with the chain-link fences in the rain, and the skulls, and even the Toa had a darker alien appearance. Unfortunately, the popularity was not to last because a lesser-known fact was that LEGO had actually been overestimating a lot of their profits towards the end of 2007 and leading into 2008. This was a big contributing factor to Bionicle's cancellation, and with all the other reasons that we spoke about in the return of Bionicle Autopsy, Bionicle was kind of put to a stop. But what does this have to do with Hero Factory? Well, back when I said that Hero Factory was a response to Bionicle's cancellation, what I meant was Hero Factory was a test. Because you see, due to the decline of Bionicle's popularity, LEGO had to ask themselves a very important question. Was it because of Bionicle or construction sets? If you're not familiar with the term construction, it is basically buildable action figures. So, things like the Galador sets to Bionicle, to Ben 10, to Hero Factory. These are all examples of construction sets. But back to the point, Hero Factory was a test. They were trying to determine why it was that Bionicle had stopped succeeding, so they added a few variables to their new line. It would be simpler, introduce a new building theme, and appeal to younger audiences. If people continue to ignore these sets, then maybe construction sets just aren't as popular as they used to be. However, if people started to buy into this line, then there might still be some hope for construction, and it was just Bionicle that was failing. Hero Factory was not created to, as most people believed, replace Bionicle. So what does this mean to us as fans? Well, the short answer is, buy more Hero Factory. Now, let me explain. For the longest time, Hero Factory was considered the butcher of Bionicle, and because of that fact, many people petitioned against it and outright refused to buy Hero Factory sets, simply because of that fact. However, if we look at this at a business perspective, LEGO is lost and confused. They don't know exactly where to go with their line. Bionicle was not succeeding anymore. But they don't want to cancel Construction just yet. They want to make sure Construction is still a success. This can be examined in several quotes made specifically by LEGO. In fact, one in particular, when it came to deciding what weapons the heroes should have, we drew our inspiration from Bionicle fan pages on the net, where children discuss which weapons and powers they think are cool. We found that Plasma is a big hit, and the leader of the heroes, Preston Stormer, actually has an ice plasma weapon. Many of Hero Factory's aspects were inspired by what was popular with Bionicle. In fact, if you paid attention to the sets, Hero Factory had been intended to introduce a new building system. However, in the 1.0 wave, it was mostly a bridge between Hero Factory's system and Bionicle's system. This was because they were trying to appeal to Bionicle's market while also still introducing their new line, because they didn't want to isolate their Bionicle fan base. Why is this? Because LEGO didn't want to lose their Bionicle fan base. As much as LEGO is villainized and blamed for Bionicle's demise, LEGO is not the bad guy. In fact, they are the very opposite. LEGO really, really loves the Bionicle community. If they didn't, they wouldn't have given Greg a full license to continue the story even though they're making no profit from it. That is an amazing thing for a company to do, and not something that a lot of companies would do. And to throw a curveball to some of the people who petition against Hero Factory, in theory, if every single Bionicle fan right now were to go to a retail store and buy Hero Factory sets, it shows LEGO that we are still interested in construction, while also giving them money to play around with, without any fear of losing any domestic value. What that means is, in 10 years from now, say LEGO has enough money, and they know we want construction, they know there are still Bionicle fans out there, which they clearly love and respect, because they went out of their way to make Hero Factory Wave 1 an easy transition for Bionicle fans so they didn't lose us, Bionicle could come back. Now, in case I lost you, basically what I just said was, if you were to buy Hero Factory, the profits generated from your purchase, as well as the interest in construction that you just showed LEGO, could inspire them to bring Bionicle back. If there's a high market and a lot of extra money to take some chances, then the possibility of Bionicle returning is substantially increased. As I mentioned in my Return of Bionicle Autopsy, our words really don't matter. We can petition and spam them all we want, but it's not going to get the job done. However, if we actually give them a profit and show our interest through purchases, that'll get them to listen. You might have heard the term, money speaks. Well, it really does. Businesses need a profit to function. They can't keep producing their product when they don't have money to back it up. I mean, just look at BZ Power's influence on Bionicle. If there was a massive Hero Factory forum, LEGO would probably be visiting it a lot. Now, just imagine if we had that huge Hero Factory forum that LEGO frequented to get ideas from. And on that forum, we were saying, yeah, Hero Factory is great. But, I would like to see Bionicle back one day, LEGO will see that. It really is a win-win situation if you just open your mind a little bit and stop looking in the negative. If we quit trying to blame Hero Factory or LEGO on Bionicle's ending and just move past it, Bionicle could come back. And it's not like Hero Factory is even that bad either. If more fans were to get involved with Hero Factory and actually show some support and give some critique, Hero Factory could be made for the better. But too many people are just completely against Hero Factory for very trivial matters. Yes, currently Hero Factory is really simplistic. Currently it's really kid-friendly. But for the most part, they make really nice sets. And their story isn't really that bad. It's simplistic, but not that bad. If we were to look past the cheesy names and the weird cartoons and just see the line for what it is, there could be a big benefit to both us and LEGO. I mean, even if we weren't able to get necessarily Bionicle back, it would be in our benefit to mold Hero Factory into something that we can enjoy. And like I said, the fundamentals of the story are really inspired by Bionicle already. Savage Planet, for example, is a lot like Makuta and the Rahi from 2001, and Brain Attack is a lot like the Krana. This could be viewed as a bad thing and that LEGO's run out of ideas, but maybe they're just doing exactly what I said before, and they're just picking out the popular aspects of Bionicle that they saw on BZ Power and trying to attribute it to their new line. Maybe tap in a little bit to that nostalgia that we all get. And I don't mean to sound like some kind of Hero Factory activist and preach and try to convert everyone to Hero Factory, but there is a light to every tunnel. And perhaps a certain wise man said it best. Follow the light. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Bionicle Autopsy with Vardaran. Thank you for joining me, and like I said at the very beginning of the video, feel free to leave a comment or suggestion, any ideas you may have for any future autopsies, or just your thoughts on this autopsy. All comments are welcome, even the negative. And also feel free to subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of other awesome videos, such as on eBay today and the Invictus analysis, and I'd love to see your feedback on those as well. But like I said, thanks for joining, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.